You know, there's one thing that the IBFP does that I guess a lot of people don't understand. And the one thing that we do better than any other channel in boxing is we got to keep that same energy. That's what we do. I've said a million times, greatness has no color. Greatness can come from anywhere. And this was a great fight against two elite athletes. Canelo Alvarez losing. He lost the fight to Dmitry Bivol, who is a better fighter and made no excuses. He's not Deontay Wilder twerking in the streets. He didn't lose his damn mind. This man took on a massive challenge and lost. That is what greatness is. You're supposed to take challenges. You're supposed to take risks. This is what makes great fighters. Period. My brother states Canelo Alvarez needs to ditch that vegan diet. LOL. Yeah, Canelo Alvarez looked exhausted in that fight, but you have to give, Dmitry Bivol all the credit because he made Canelo Alvarez literally work for every single thing. He made him work for every single thing. He put in the work, and you have to give Dmitry Bivol all the credit. Absolutely. Dmitry Bivol sent Canelo Alvarez straight to hell. There's no doubt about it. He was the better man, and in my opinion, he showed it. There's no doubt. I also think that 175 is not the weight class for Canelo. In my personal opinion, 168 looks to be more of his weight. He was beat by the better man tonight. This might be too much for him. But this is why I respect Canelo Alvarez so much. This is why. Because he has the balls to take risks that no one else takes. Let me ask you a question. Would Jamal Charlo take this kind of risk? Would David Benavidez take this kind of risk? Would Demetrius Andre take this kind of risk? None of these cowards have ever taken this kind of risk. But people are out here talking trash about Canelo Alvarez for taking risk, constantly pushing himself and wanting to be great. You have to respect greatness and give credit where credit is due. This is the IBFP, where facts over feelings reign supreme. Much respect to Dmitry Bivol for beating the number one pound for pound fighter in the world. In the world. In the world. Now we got Craig Smith here, and he said, don't come out talking about he tried that and that ain't really his division. He was chasing greatness. I don't want to hear that crap. He got his ass whooped. Canelo did get his ass whooped, but he was chasing greatness. You're fighting an undefeated prime elite world champion in a higher weight class. That's greatness, you dumbass. What's wrong with these clowns? See, I made a video days ago saying no matter what happened, haters will still talk trash about Canelo. There's no reason to talk trash about a guy losing to another elite fighter. That's like calling AJ a fraud for losing to Usyk. Elite fighters are hard to beat. Great fighters have lost. What are we talking about? Are these guys dumbasses? This is what happens in boxing. This is what happens. Great fighters lose to other great fighters. There's zero shame in that. Zero shame in that. Period. My brother one states 115 word 113. Nah, it was never that close in my opinion. It wasn't, but it really doesn't matter. Bivol got the clear-cut decision by all three judges, and I can respect that. Much respect to that. Boxing is justice. And here's another thing that you dumbass don't understand. Canelo Alvarez is still a great fighter. He's still a great fighter. He lost to a great fighter. There's no shame in that. People that say this are not boxing fans. These are fanboys. Saying Canelo Alvarez is this, saying is that. Come on. Come on. This is what we're talking about. Canelo Alvarez is still a great fighter. He's still what greatness looks like. You got to see. I told you. I've always said it from day one. I'm a fan of greatness. And Dmitry Bivol is greatness. Canelo Alvarez is greatness. Losing to another great fighter is literally zero shame. Only a dumbass would troll and hate on it. The guy moved up in weight to fight a killer that nobody else had the balls to fight. And you're saying that he's trash? You're saying he's overrated? You're saying he's exposed? I'm hearing fanboys literally everywhere talk out their ass. Give Dmitry Bivol the credit for being an elite, great fighter. Now he's officially a pound-for-pound fighter and cannot be denied. But don't turn around and shit on Canelo Alvarez for going out there, attempting to be great, fighting in another weight class, a higher weight class against an undefeated prime world champion. And if you don't know the statistics, statistically, Dmitry Bivol is more difficult to hit defensively. Number one in boxing, even more than guys like Demetrius Andre. All of these other dudes they talk about. Half of these people don't understand boxing. They're fanboys and not fans of the sport. My brother states, props to Canelo for taking a risk in fighting big men at light heavyweights. Props to Dmitry Bivol as well, too. Absolutely. Canelo Alvarez took the risk at light heavyweight to get a title from a killer, and he lost. There's no shame in that. Are you a boxing fan, or are you just a troll? Not you, my brother. I'm talking about a lot of these haters. That's all I'm saying. It was a great fight. Bivol was strong and smart. Bivol was strong, smart, proficient, accurate, high IQ, great footwork. He did everything that an elite fighter, a pound-for-pound fighter, is supposed to do. That's what he does. Lewis says, LOL, this dude gonna shut down his channel. Why would I shut down my channel? I talk about boxing. I talk boxing. I talk greatness. The only thing that needs to shut down is your asshole from letting other grown men go in it. See, that's the problem with these fanboys. They get on here talking. These guys are fanboys, not fans of the sport. Canelo Alvarez challenging himself is a problem. Canelo Alvarez challenging himself is something to look down on. Fighting a guy at 75? What are we talking about here? You give a guy the credit. This is the same Canelo that was even willing to fight Usyk. Win, lose, or draw. You respect the guy taking risks. But you're sitting up here hating on him? Make that make sense. Canelo looks slow and tired at 175, I think. Light heavy is too much for him. He was getting bullied. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. He looked exhausted. Dmitry Bivol looked fresh. He looked fast. He looked everything you want a fighter to look like. And that's it. I got to give Dmitry Bivol all the credit in the world. He did everything an elite and great fighter does. This is what greatness looks like, but that doesn't mean Canelo is still not great. Great fighters lose. Is Roy Jones Jr. not a great fighter, even though he lost? This is what I'm saying. Great fighters lose to other great fighters. We're not talking about Canelo Alvarez losing to some cab driver on the street. He lost to an elite fighter. This is what we're talking about. This is if Floyd Mayweather fought Triple G at that time, Triple G would have mauled him. But Floyd Mayweather didn't go for that type of greatness. He was not that. He's about the money. If Canelo Alvarez was about the money, he would have been fighting MMA fighters. That's who he would have been fighting, YouTube stars. That's what he would have took the Charlo fight instead of the Dmitry Bivol fight. That's what he would have did, because that would have been easy money. But he didn't do that. He took the most dangerous fight available. Give them the credit. Zero excuses, my brother states. This is what greatness is. But while Canelo is still a beast, smaller man, and it still wasn't a knockout. That's what I'm saying. You got to give him heart. He got great chin, power. Even Bivol said Canelo has pop. It's just, it may not be his weight class. He tested it, did the best he got, and even wants a rematch. That shows that he has all the nuts in the world to get in there with a top-level fighter. I can respect that. I can respect that. My brother, nobody states too big, too strong. It's time to debunk the cherry pick gone wrong from these casual losers. Is the vegan diet a viable excuse? Seem tired. There's no excuses, none, not even the diet. But I will say this, the weight class fighting at that weight might be a little too much for Canelo. I don't know how the rematch looks. As of right now, I'm favoring Dmitry Bivol in any potential rematch. I need to see what Canelo Alvarez can do. We need to see what adjustments he can make. Right now, Dmitry Bivol is the man, and everybody got to give credit where credit is due. We just saw greatness. We just saw greatness. It could be the diet. We don't know. You start a new diet, and then you come out and have this type of performance. You look slow, you look sluggish, you get exhausted. But that's also Dmitry Bivol. He did not make the fight easy. He's an elite fighter. You can take nothing away from Dmitry Bivol. The man is a hell of a fighter. A hell of a fighter. My brother KO says that vegan diet messed up Canelo. Wrong move. It really could have, but Canelo said many times, no excuses. Canelo Alvarez is not Deontay Wilder. He's not twerking in the street. He took his L like a man and kept going, because that's what great fighters do. That's what great fighters do. My brother said this is what the best versus the best look like. This is exactly what it looks like. This is why we get so many other guys in other weight classes not fighting each other, while Canelo Alvarez has the nuts to fight anybody, has the nuts to fight everybody. That's what it is. My brother Sam Shaw says it right on the head. The better big man beat the better smaller man. It's simple boxing. That's all it is. Give Canelo Alvarez the credit for stepping up and taking the challenge, and give Dmitry Bivol the credit for being an elite fighter on the top of his game in his prime. And there's a reason why he's undefeated. There's a reason why Andre Ward retired and refused to fight this guy. There is a reason, because Dmitry Bivol is a beast. Give him the credit. The man is an elite fighter. Give him the credit. Canelo pushed himself very far, but 175 might be too much. Exactly. My brother Ricardo Martinez says people saying Canelo on a Eurobum tour exposed and cherry picker exposed when Bivol is better than Charlo, Benavidez, and Demetrius Andre. He beats all of these guys' ass in the same night, but people will never give him the credit. They wouldn't, because none of these guys would ever take that type of fight. They would never do that. They would never do that. You give a guy credit for having the balls to step in there and take that type of work. My brother states it's just a great big man beating a great little man. Canelo still great for taking risks like this. Absolutely. My brother says Usyk is the new pound for pound king. Can't deny that. Usyk is putting in all the work. He has to be pound for pound number one. Canelo took the punches well. Chin is there. Absolutely, the chin is there. The heart is there. He never stopped banging. He never stopped coming forward. He never stopped trying. He just lost to the better man. That's all it is. Bivol was the better man, and you got to give credit where credit is due. Dmitry Bivol is an elite fighter. And you know, this is one thing I don't understand. Anybody talking trash about Canelo, they're not a boxing fan. They're a hater. They are a hater. That's all it is. My brother states Canelo lost, absolutely, but this is exactly what happens when you devote yourself to greatness. Let's see what's next for Canelo. Canelo said he wants to rematch. Let's see what he can do. If he pulls this off, this will be the win of the decade. But at the end of the day, even if he doesn't, he still lost to an elite fighter. He still took the risk, and he still has the balls to take challenges that a lot of other guys would never take. My brother states, salute IBFP. The only thing Canelo did right is show decent defense, but apart from that, I only saw him win 2 rounds at most. And that's your opinion. You're entitled to it. But I didn't see Canelo do much in this fight compared to other fights. I don't think the fight was close at the end. I don't think, it was that close at the end. I thought Bivol clearly won the fight and dominated Canelo to a certain degree, but I gave him more than 2 rounds. My brother states it was Canelo's skills that kept him from getting knocked out. Bivol's punches definitely tired Canelo down. No other puncher at 168 is doing this. That's it. That's it. That's hit the nail right on the head. Who else can Benavidez beat this guy? Nope. Can Andre? Nope. Can Charlo? Nope. Did any of those take the challenge? Hell no. Look at this. Mayweather Forever says cherry pick gone wrong. Triple G. Now, this is obviously a Floyd Mayweather nut rider because Floyd has never taken a challenge this dangerous. That's what I'm saying. These guys aren't boxing fans. These guys are nut riders. We don't respect nut riders. We keep that same energy. That's what it is. All the Canelo haters are out there in the street turking right now because Canelo Alvarez took his loss on the chin like a man. An elite fighter beating another elite fighter is nothing to be ashamed of. That's what greatness is. My brother says the way Bivol uses his left hand is a lost art. I don't know how better Biev is going to beat this guy. And in my opinion, Dmitry Bivol is the number one fighter at 175 pounds. Canelo Alvarez is activating the rematch clause. He says he wants that smoke in a rematch. And think about it. He just lost, clearly, to an elite fighter, and he still wants the rematch. That's what greatness is. That's what greatness is. That's what greatness is. My brother Boxing Monster states Bivol was never a cherry. Only dumbass fanboys thought that. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. See, this is the problem. They've never given Dmitry Bivol all the credit in the world, and they never wanted to give Canelo Alvarez the credit for fighting this man. That's really what it is. That's all it is. He fought a fighter who was at a higher weight class who was just too much for him. That's all it is. It's simple as that. Canelo Alvarez made no excuses. He took the loss on the chin. Much respect to Canelo Alvarez. My brother says LDBC clowns will write Canelo off. Shaking my head. They will. And, you know, Canelo has a chance in the rematch, but I still favor Bivol. He put together such a great performance. I don't know what Canelo can do, but we shall see. And I respect him for doing it. I respect him for doing it. You take challenges. You take your wins like you take your losses. Young OG, who I've never seen on my channel, says, you mad? Why would I be mad? A great fighter lost to another great fighter. What the hell are you talking about? Dmitry Bivol's a great fighter, and he whooped Canelo's ass. Congratulations, Dmitry Bivol. I'm no hater. I'm a fan of boxing, not a fanboy. You just come on here to get your cheeks bust. That's the problem with these fanboys. That's probably the biggest Jamal Charlo fan in the world, but he won't even fight nobody. Come on now. Come on now. These guys are smoking. These guys are smoking. This guy says, good fighters lose, not great fighters, you dumbass. Roy Jones Jr. was a great fighter, you dumbass, and he lost, you dumbass. Vladimir Klitschko was a great fighter, and he lost, you dumbass. These guys don't know boxing. They don't know boxing. What are you talking about? That's the problem with these morons. Too many of these guys don't know anything about boxing, and they're talking crazy. They're in their feelings. That's the difference between a boxing fan and a fanboy. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's all it is. I mean, think about it. You come here to troll because Canelo lost. What does that mean? Salute, my brother. Salute. Salute. Talking about a European bum tour, cherry pickers exposed. These guys are dumbasses. I mean, seriously, you fight the best guy in the division and you cherry pick it. It's always facts over feelings. It's always facts over feelings. Dmitry Bivol's an elite fighter, a great fighter, and he showed you why he's such a great fighter. He showed you why he's avoided. Nobody said I had it 8-4 Bivol. Hope he smokes better BF. Canelo can probably defend at 168. The only way to beat Canelo is to be bigger, longer, and just as skilled. And that proves to be an accurate theory because Dmitry Bivol is an elite fighter that would bust open Jamal Charlo, David Benavidez, Demetrius Andre, and whoever else these fanboys want to put up there. Exactly. Jamal Charlo too busy fighting Mailman. He's fighting Sulecki. But you sitting up here criticizing Canelo for losing to a great fighter? These guys are not boxing fans. They're not. These guys are fanboys. That's what I'm saying. When you constantly take fights with elite fighters, you're going to take losses eventually. That's what's going to happen because you're taking a lot of risks. That's what happened. That's all it was. He fought another great fighter. This is what happens when you fight great fighter. This is what I'm talking about. He fought a great fighter. Dmitry Bivol came in with the perfect game plan. He came in with the perfect game plan and did everything he was supposed to do. That's why I think Dmitry Bivol is obviously a pound for pound superstar right now. Dmitry Bivol is the number one fighter at 175. Dmitry Bivol is no joke. He's elite. He clearly and convincingly beat Canelo Alvarez. You got to give credit where credit is due. These are the Canelo ducked Errol Spence for Bivol. Oh my God. I hope that's a joke. I really hope that's a joke. I really hope that's a joke. I hope that's not like a serious comment. I hope that's a joke. I hope nobody's that stupid. I really do. I really hope nobody's that stupid. The people who say Canelo got exposed are the same clowns who thought Bivol was a cherry pick at first. Point proven. How can an elite, prime, undefeated world champion be a cherry pick? A guy with height and reach over Canelo be a cherry pick? Do they not understand how elite defensively Dmitry Bivol is? He's ranked number one statistically, the best defensive fighter. Guys only really land about 5 shots against him per round. What does that tell you? But you're still talking like he's a nobody. These guys are delusional. I don't believe Canelo's a 175-pound fighter like at the top with these guys right now. He didn't show that. Dmitry Bivol exploited his weaknesses, took advantage, and much credit to Dmitry Bivol because you know what? That's what an elite fighter looks like. That's what an elite fighter looks like. That's what a great fighter looks like. Dmitry Bivol's an elite fighter. He's a great fighter, and you got to give him all the credit in the world. And he looked absolutely massive. this guy's this guy's still talking about Canelo ducking Errol Spence for Dmitry Bivol. If you think that, your mama should have swallowed you because ain't no way he ever ducked Errol Spence. Ain't no way. He fought a better fighter than him at a higher weight class and made no excuses. This is what respect is for chasing greatness. You got to give credit where credit is due because Canelo stepped in there and fought a great fighter. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. My brother Two Hands says, what's good, bro? I've been saying it for 3 years, but shout out to Canelo for going for the tough opponent. Salute. And this is why I respect Two Hands. You know, me and Two Hands don't have to agree on everything. We don't have to always see eye to eye, but one thing we understand is what greatness is. You can respect Dmitry Bivol for being an elite, great fighter and clearly, convincingly beating Canelo Alvarez, but you can also respect for Canelo for having the nuts to go in there and take a fight against a dangerous guy. What are we talking about? There's too many damn haters. Salute to Reaper Gang Radio. Salute to Mr. Two Hands Up. That's what a boxing fan looks like. Not these fanboys with their panties wet, hating on Canelo Alvarez, calling an elite fighter a cherry pick. Troll Master Mike said, I said it once, I'll say it all day. Again, the LDBC Canelo cherry picking gone wrong videos coming soon. Brain dead as they are, it's coming. I believe it. And there's just going to be narrative after narrative that has to be debunked, narrative after narrative that idiots, trolls, and fanboys are going to believe. It's nonstop with dumbasses because these guys are not boxing fans. They're not boxing fans. They're fanboys. Mexican fans at least recognize and take the L, which I respect. We got to hear the haters today, but Canelo will be back better. Respect, Nuke. Respect. And you know what's interesting is when when Deontay Wilder lost, these guys was making videos about, you know, loaded gloves and it's okay for him to twerk in the street and just nonsense. Nonsense. I don't understand that. And absolutely, shout out to Canelo Alvarez for taking a risk that nobody else was taking. How can you be mad at somebody like that? This guy's an absolute beast. He fought a killer. That's what I'm talking about. My brother Alex Chavez says, hell of a fight. Canelo does more in a loss than Charlo and Andrade have done in their entire careers. Let's keep that same energy. Let's keep it. Okay, let's keep it. Let's keep it. Let's keep it. That's what I'm saying. A lot of these guys don't understand me or what my channel's about. We're about keeping that same energy. Respect to Dmitry Bivol. He was the better boxer tonight. No excuses need to be made because the man is a beast. He's elite. He's a pound for pound fighter. That is an elite fighter. That's what I'm talking about. My brother says he made 50 million. Do you think he care about losing? Of course, because he's not motivated by money. He's motivated by greatness. But yes, a loss still hurts. No matter how much money you make, a loss is always going to hurt. You're always going to feel like there was things you should have done better. And that's why Canelo Alvarez is activating the rematch clause. I can even respect it. You just got your ass whooped by this guy and you're ready to come back in a rematch to fight him. That takes serious nuts. Some guys won't even fight each other the first time. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And just like my brother Two Hands says, I knew Bivol was different. That's why I wanted him to push himself. This is all it is. You want guys to see how truly great they are. Push your limits. See how far you can go. And that's what happens. Sometimes you take losses when you fight the best of the best. The best of the best. My brother says weight classes exist for a reason. Canelo should destroy Charlo, Triple G, Benavidez. That's all. I mean, look, you know, it is what it is, but no excuses to be made. Dmitry Bivol is a hell of a fighter, and I got to give him all the credit in the world. My brother states, not going to lie, I was disappointed. Canelo relied on his heavy punches too much, but I think he can come back for sure. Bivol was just better today. He was absolutely the better fighter, no doubt about it. Much respect to the pound for pound, one of the top pound for pound world champions, Dmitry Bivol. The guy's an absolute monster, did everything he was supposed to do. Much respect to him. Much respect. And absolutely proves Canelo Alvarez ain't no ducker. He could have took the easy road, and the easy road would have been Jamal Charlo. Instead, he took a killer. Took a killer. He didn't have to do this. He could have took something. He didn't have to do that. That's what I'm saying. A lot of guys didn't understand that. This is what I'm saying. There's too many fanboys in boxing and not enough boxing fans. Why are you crying, IBFP? When did you hear me cry? The only one crying is your mama when she get them cheeks bust. Because I ain't crying. This is what I'm saying. When you have elite fighters fighting, sometimes guys lose. That's what happens. Salute IBFP, huge fan, but what do you think is next for Canelo? The rematch. He's already stated he wants the rematch. He's already wanting it. You know, so I mean, much credit to Canelo for having the heart to go out and do this. Much credit. This is why I respect Canelo Alvarez so much, because he's willing to take challenges and chances. Not a lot of guys like to do that. A lot of guys like to hide behind their promoters and say, oh, no, I don't want to fight this guy. Give me that tune-up so I can look great on this knockout reel. Let me get that. Canelo chose this. He took control of his own career, chose to fight a killer, and that's what happened. That's what happened. In a higher weight class, and that's what happened. You can't hate on that. There's too many fanboys out there. My brother states, Dmitry Bivol has 300 amateur fights. Damn. My brother Two Hands says, Canelo got thumped, bro. You're absolutely right, he do. Canelo has power. He has everything. That's it. And you're absolutely right. Dmitry Bivol sent Canelo Alvarez straight to hell tonight, and he's on fire right now. But I respect for Canelo Alvarez for being willing to take that challenge. Canelo Alvarez, make no mistake, he's still a great fighter. Great fighter loses to another great fighter is nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing to be ashamed of. There's literally nothing to be ashamed of. We're all about the best versus the best. That's it. No excuses. We just want to see the best fight the best. That's all we want to see is the best fight the best. That's it. That's it. You know, I respect guys who's willing to take risks. I respect guys who's willing to put everything out there on the line, and that's the kind of guy Canelo is. That's why I always respected him, and that's why I call him a great fighter. And imagine losing to a guy and willing to get a rematch right back. What does that say? Reminds me of Felix and Oscar losing to B-Hop. Those guys chased greatness and lost, and nobody cared. Exactly what I'm saying. All of those three fighters are great. Felix, Oscar, and Bernard. But you know, when you hear fanboys tell it, great fighters never lose a fight. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? This is what greatness is. If Canelo could have fought this guy to catch weight, he said, no, I want to fight Bivol at his weight. At his weight. My brother Carlos says, I had it as a draw, but not disappointed. Bivol is a great fighter. He absolutely is. Me personally, I didn't have it a draw. I think, you know, Bivol did a little bit more than just, you know, a draw. I thought he clearly won the fight, convincingly won the fight. Dmitry Bivol needs all the credit in the world, in my opinion. Clown saying Canelo got exposed. See, you remember, I put out a video days ago and I said fanboys would be on this, making excuses no matter what happened. In this fight, they would say Canelo was exposed, or even if he won, they would have had excuses. There's never going to be a fight where they ever want to give this man credit. You're absolutely right. Canelo Alvarez is a Mexican warrior, and Dmitry Bivol is a king, undefeated world champion prime, and he's a pound for pound type star. You got to give the guys credit. You got to get a guy credit. My brother Ivan says, IBFP, where does Canelo go from here? He goes to the rematch, and we'll see what he does. If he can make adjustments, if he can improve, if he can somehow beat this killer, that would say a lot. Salute to my brother Oscar Torres. Salute, my brother. Salute. Canelo Alvarez is still a king, still one of the top attractions in boxing, still one of the best fighters in boxing. You got to give him the credit. Props to Dmitry Bivol, big fan, Nuke, for always speeding facts. As to Jake Paul's post, tell him to hop off that crack pipe. How is he calling next? I'm going to tell you that if Jake Paul fought Dmitry Bivol, his head will be knocked off his shoulders. He ain't that stupid. I hope he ain't that stupid. I hope he ain't that stupid. Now, Jake Paul really would be twerking in the streets. I do have Usyk as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. I do. I have Usyk that. Somebody asked me, how do I feel about the rematch? I still favor Bivol in the rematch right now. But, I mean, you never know. You never know. You never know. I'm a fan of greatness. That's what I am. Bivol is an absolute beast. He's an absolute problem. Not many guys can mess with a guy like Dmitry Bivol. Who's out there fighting that level of competition consistently? This wasn't a cherry pick. This was a test. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. He could have stayed at 168. He could have stayed there, beat up all those guys, but he took a chance and a risk fighting at a higher weight class. This is what makes legacies. This is what makes great fighters. Bivol is a great champ. Canelo lost nothing taking this risk. He's still undisputed at 168 for you dumbasses who don't know. IBFP, do you think David Benavidez will fight the same since style is about the same as Bivol? I mean, I have no idea, but they're not the same fighter. But, you know, I can see some similarities. Canelo still knocks out Benavidez, Charlo, etc. At least Canelo has the balls to fight the best. That's all I'm saying. All these guys could have been and fought somebody else. All of these guys could have went up and fought Bivol themselves. Been in the game all these years, never took any chances, never tried to make a legacy, never tried to do anything. And yet Canelo Alvarez lost this fight clearly, and he still wants to rematch. What does that say? What does that say? When you still want the rematch. When you still want the rematch. What does that say? This is what happens when you see greatness. The haters in their feelings. The power was the difference. Bivol deserves the payday. He absolutely does. He's putting in work. And it's not really absolutely. This is a great comment. This is not an upset when you're way small. It's not. When you fight an elite fighter at his weight class and you move up in weight and he's the champion, that's not really an upset. You got to give credit where credit is due. That's all you really have to do. That's it. This just further proves that Canelo dog walks anyone in his weight division. Speak those facts, my brother. Salute to my brother Jonathan, 57-2 with countless titles. That's legendary for me. It's a legendary fighter. Young OG must be sucking on Dante Elote. Say, man, you know these guys aren't boxing fans. These guys are fanboys. That's it. That's all they are. These guys don't really want to talk boxing. I've seen more guys on here that are trying to troll me instead of appreciating two great fighters fighting. What good do you get out of trolling me? My boy lost fair and square. And I'm a Canelo fan. 100% agree. There was no controversy, and you also got it. This also debunks the myth that Canelo can't lose in a decision. He clearly lost a decision, and all three judges had him losing. You got to give him credit. The weight difference was clear. Still no excuses. Absolutely. You can't be mad at that. You can't be mad at that. This is what I'm saying. We got to give credit where credit is due. That's all we're trying to do. My brother State haters saying this was going to be easy win. Bivol was with a knockout. Charlo, Benavidez, the LDBC, and Southpaw are moist right now. Bivol is a beast. You can, and then next week, and look, last week all of these guys were calling Bivol trash. Now they're like, look, he beat this guy. He exposed this guy. Come on. My brother says, IBF, thank you for being unbiased. All I'll say is this is why Canelo is so great. He's an AI machine learning being. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the rematch. You never know. I mean, if Canelo wins the rematch, you got to really give him extra credit. I mean, what does that say? He moved up, took the risk of what no one else is doing. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. That's 100% right. That's all it is. The guy's taking risks. And there's too many morons out here, not boxing fans. My brother says Pacquiao lost many times and took out Thurman. Boom. Hold on, but I had a dumbass says great fighters never lose. Is Pacquiao not a great fighter? One of the best ever to do it. That's what I'm saying. These guys don't know boxing. These guys are fanboys. My brother says Canelo didn't land nothing but maybe 3 uppercuts. Bivol blocked damn near everything. Canelo hit nothing but arms. Right guy won. Horrible scorecards. And you know, it is what it is. Canelo took it on the chin. Dmitry Bivol clearly won the fight. The right guy won. The judges did the right thing by making sure Dmitry Bivol won, and every single judge did that. That's their job. Bivol put on a tremendous boxing performance. I had it wrong, but respect to Canelo for taking the challenge. Bivol number 1 at 175 in top pound for pound. You can't take nothing away from Bivol. All the credit in the world. You got to respect Canelo. He said no excuses. Respect to Bivol. And also respect to Canelo for wanting the rematch. Can't wait to see that. I'm excited to see what Canelo can do in running it back. And if he loses again, it is what it is. And if he can come out and get a victory, that'll right the wrong. In my opinion, I don't know if 175 is his weight class. I don't know. It might be too much. It might be a step too far. Dmitry Bivol is just another type of fighter. He simply is. My brother states Canelo will beat anyone's favorite fighter at 168. For those Canelo haters, Canelo ducked Godzilla, shaking my head. I mean, haters are always going to hate. Fanboys are always going to be fanboys. These guys are never going to want to be honest. That's all it is. That's all it is. That's all it is. Oh my God. That's all it is. There's a lot of trolls on here, guys I've never seen before, want to show up, and that's okay because your favorite fighter will never take a risk. Your favorite fighter would never have the balls to do what Canelo Alvarez is doing. And guess what, dummy? He's still an elite fighter. He's still a great fighter. Bivol is the slick black fighter the LGBT and every race baiting channel was looking for. Oh my God. I mean, look, Dmitry Bivol, these guys are going to be looking for a way to discredit him next week. That's really what they're going to do. They're going to look for a way to discredit Dmitry Bivol next week. They don't want to give him credit. And some of them are still saying he's trash or he's not good or he's this or he's that. And Dmitry Bivol is simply an elite fighter. That's all it is. Salute to my brother Armando. That's what I'm saying. We got to give credit where credit is due. Hold on. My brother David states, while Canelo fought a killer, Charlo is fighting Selecki. But you got guys saying that's a great fight, but sitting up here hating on Canelo. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. John Doe says Canelo Alvarez got ahead of himself, thought he could, I guess, take out the jab, as he did is much more fragile. Kind of like what he did to Callum Smith. I think that's what he's saying. Yeah, you know, he thought he could do that by taking out his arm, dislocating his arms. I understand what you're saying. My brother says, how many rounds you give Canelo and what make Bivol great? Dmitry Bivol just beat the #1 pound for pound fighter in the world. That's what makes him great. Dmitry Bivol is undefeated. He's prime and he's a world champion. How is he not great? An undefeated prime world champion beating a pound for pound superstar is not great? Maybe you don't understand boxing. I think a lot of people just in their feelings right now, but they don't understand exactly. My brother, two hands, respect to both men for a great fight. And there's nothing wrong with watching greatness fight greatness. This is what boxing's supposed to be. This is what boxing is supposed to be. Exactly. He could have protected his reputation. Exactly. So respect that man for getting out the mud. Boxing has changed. It's sad. And that's what I'm saying. If you can root for Bivol to win and you can be happy that he won, but sitting up here trying to shit on a man willing to take a massive risk don't make sense. My brother says Southpaw calling me out. He can call me out. What he want to get body bagged again? I'll pull out the body bags for his dumbass. Tell him to come see me and he can come get it. Tell him to come see me and he can come get this work. I'll body bag his ass again. That's easy work. 10 times out of 10. Southpaw, if you listening, come get it. Come get it. Just like your mama go get that Mexican meat. Come get it. My brother Melvin, salute to Melvin Bailey. He says Canelo got outclassed fair and square, no shame in losing to a bigger man and wanting to smoke again. Salute to Bivol. He's an elite, great champion. Much respect. Much respect. My brother states Canelo's still an incredible fighter, fought another incredible fighter. Bivol is a real deal. I want to see the rematch, win, lose, or draw. Canelo shouldn't fight in that weight class again. And I can agree with that. I don't know if that weight class is for him. It just seems too much. But I got massive respect for him for taking the fight, for being willing to take the challenge. My brother Toby Bartlett says, big respect to Canelo. Rematch will be great. Big respect to Bivol. Viva Canelo. Viva Mexico. My brother says, Bivol is a monster. He absolutely is. And he showed that tonight. My brother states proud of Canelo as he did. He don't come with the excuses. Absolutely. Canelo out for trying. Bivol did his job. It took a light heavyweight to beat him. Good for both men. Think about that. That's a real statement. It took a light heavyweight to beat Canelo Alvarez. Think about what that means. Think about what that means. Absolutely. Foreman lost Ali. These guys don't understand it. These guys don't understand boxing. When is Jamal Charlo at 31 years old taking one risk like this? Just name one. Just name one. I thought so. Great fight. On another note, whatever happened to Speak Your Mind Sport Talk with D Jefferson? My brother D Jefferson is on a bit of a hiatus right now. He's doing well. Salute to Speak Your Mind Sports Talk. And I'll let him know, hopefully he's coming back and making his return, and I'll reach out to him and see if he's going to make that return. That's my brother. Much respect to D Jefferson, and I will be contacting him very soon about that. Dmitry Bivol is a different breed, a monster at 175. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And he showed that tonight. And a lot of people try to take things away from him by calling him a cherry pick. And those are just dumbasses who don't know boxing. Bivol is a great fighter. Can't wait for the rematch. Absolutely. The rematch, you have no idea if this was a good fight. You can't even imagine what the rematch is going to be. Should Canelo fight Bivol before Triple G due to the weight? There is no Triple G fight right now because Canelo lost. That's really it. So we don't even know if that fight will ever. We don't know if that trilogy will ever happen at this point because Triple G is going to have to go another route. Canelo lost. That's really what it is. Imagine if Canelo was 2 inches taller. Canelo will bounce back 1,000 times stronger. Absolutely. It's a guy that's always fighting at a disadvantage of, being a smaller guy fighting amongst giants. But you respect him for having the balls to get out there and take these challenges. That's it. That's all I'm saying. I respect guys who take challenges. I don't respect guys who don't. And half of these guys are sitting up here talking trash on Canelo are the same guys that are saying Jamal Charlo's the best fighter in boxing. Jamal Charlo's a king. Jamal Charlo would never lose. Would never lose. Would never lose. Miguel Lopez says no rematch. He got dominated. But Dmitry Bivol also wants the rematch. So it's going to be run back. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I respect him for willing to take the risk in a rematch. And when you're the pound for pound king, I think Canelo Alvarez has done enough in his career to not only have just, deserve a rematch, but he's earned it too. Salute to my brother Angel the Upset Rivera, and he states, "New, keep up the good work. Canelo Alvarez is still a beast, and this loss did nothing to his career. He was chasing greatness and still wants that smoke to run it back. So if he got dominated once, he's willing to get dominated again. That's greatness. This man is fearless. Easy work, Bivol, 2-9-3, no rematch needed. Don't matter, still happening. When you put in this kind of work, when you take these kind of risks, you still deserve a chance. Money Brown still spreading lies saying he won. I don't know what Money Brown is saying. I don't know what's going on with Money Brown. Salute to Money Brown. In my opinion, Canelo Alvarez lost the fight clearly and convincingly. But that does not mean that even though Canelo lost the fight clearly, that he's still not a great fighter. That doesn't mean he's still not elite. And that doesn't mean that he's not putting in serious work. You give credit where credit is due. You give credit where credit is due. You take chances and you don't always get the win. That's what happens. That's what happens. Exactly. I respect Canelo. Always pushes regardless of risk. IBFP, now everyone a Bivol fan. Now that's what I'm saying. A lot of Bivol fans was made tonight, wasn't they? These fanboys are something else. Facts, they all let it. IBFP Bivol was going to get the knockout. Nothing but respect for him for going up. But Canelo needs to stay at 168, plain and simple. I can't disagree. I think Canelo Alvarez's best weight is at 168. I would love for him to just stay at 168, defend his titles. But if he's willing to fight this guy again after clearly being beat, after clearly losing, I can't hate on it. I think he's done so much in his career that he's earned the right to try again. My brother says, much respect to Canelo, win or lose. My brother states, GOATs who lost: Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson, Mike Tyson, Chavez, Roy Jones, and now Canelo as well. I mean, you gotta love it. These guys, there's no excuses, and you respect this because these guys are really putting in work. Canelo acted like a true man after he lost, and their favorite fighters won't even shake their opponent's hands. Wilder and Charlo, absolutely right. But they applaud these guys. They ride them like a rodeo show. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. It really is. It really is. My brother said, yo, Southpaw is roasting you. How can he roast me when he live at home with his mama? I don't understand that. How you gonna roast me and you live at home with your mama? You live at home with your mama and you suck on elotes every week, but you hating on me? You can come get this smoke. You already got body bagged once. That's what I'm saying. These guys don't understand boxing. These are fanboys. I would like to see Bivol versus Better BF. I would too. I would love to see that undisputed match get made. Dmitry Bivol is the number one, in my opinion, is the number one fighter at 175 right now. That's my opinion. My brother says Triple G after realizing he's not getting a payday. Oh my God. Yeah, I know he's not gonna like that. Oh man. Yes, Canelo Alvarez is still a pound for pound fighter. He is not pound for pound number 1, 2, 3, or 4. In my opinion, I got him all the way down to pound for pound number 5. I got Usyk at number 1, in my opinion. But that's me. Put some respect on Nukes. Facts. Canelo's cojones. Salute, my brother. Salute, my brother. Thanks for the love. That's all we doing. And Southpaw can get that work any day of the week. These guys are cowards. They don't really want it. I didn't already body bag these guys. Canelo Alvarez is true boxing, fighting the best to prove it. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'd like to see. I'm not fans of guys who don't fight nobody. How many times have we said that I'm a fan of greatness? I'm not a fanboy for anybody, but if somebody's doing greatness, I'm a fan of them. Charlo comfortable at 160 pounds and safe. So that's what it looks like when you don't take risks. That's what it looks like. My brother says, I be stroking again. Salute my brother. Round of applause from them baddies that was sitting ringside. My God. And shout out to the LDBC for getting their Bivol tramp stamps. And hey, I would tell you, if one of those girls from ringside is listening, don't worry, ladies. All of you can get your cheeks bust by the landlord, and that's 100. All of them, each and every one. Triple G versus Charlo, that fight makes sense. That's a unification fight. That needs to happen ASAP. ASAP. Because there ain't nothing holding that back. Ain't nothing holding that back. Canelo lost. There's going to be a rematch. All this stuff is going to happen. He's already done for the year. So what you need to be worried about is you and Triple G getting it on. All the Canelo haters are happy because Canelo lost. When you go up in weight, it's a huge difference. The haters don't know boxing. They only care about race. No one else will challenge themselves. So 100%. This is why Canelo Alvarez was, this is why Canelo Alvarez was carrying the sport, because he was the only one willing to be great, willing to challenge himself. That's all it is. Triple G punching air right now. That's funny. You know, it is what it is, though. But we need that unification fight with Triple G, Charlo, or Charlo can get that Benavidez smoke at 168. I mean, we can see what happened. My brother John Doe say Alvarez changes tactics, wins the rematch. Facts, GOAT. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. This is what greatness looks like. We don't make excuses. We recognize greatness. That's what we do. Looked a little bit like Mayweather. Paul too. A bigger guy went in there to survive, not for the knockout. Much respect to all the real ones in the chat. Too many fanboys on the troll today. Salute to Giovanni. Salute my brother. Much love and respect. Much love and respect. Tough loss for Canelo, but he took it on the chin like a man, went in there like a man, did everything he was supposed to do. This is what great fighters do. This is what great fighters do. This is what great fighters do. This is why I respect Canelo Alvarez so much, because he could have took an easy route. He could have took an easy way out. He didn't do that. He stepped up like a man and put in work. That's why I applaud Canelo Alvarez. That's why I applaud it. I don't know why anybody would think I wouldn't show up. Why wouldn't I show up? Why wouldn't I show up? We recognize greatness no matter whose it is. That's all we do. That's all we do. Oh, salute to my brother BJ Freeman. BJ Freeman's one of the real ones. He says, I think the difference with Bivol is that he didn't only have skill, but he had the power with it as well. Great analysis, BJ Freeman. Salute to Freeman Realty. Salute my brother. Much love and respect. Much love and respect. And no excuses. No excuses for Canelo. He took it like a man. Much respect. The women showing more hair these days. Ron Mitchell says, you're saying, Charlo, this is that Canelo went up to duck, get off Canelo's panties. All them threats you making to people in the chat is disturbing. Now, listen, Ron Mitchell. That's all I got to say about Ron Mitchell. Ron Mitchell, you get the body bag. And let me tell you why. Because you are an absolute dumbass. You're I'm talking about Charlo. He's fighting Sulecki. You're defending a man fighting Sulecki? And you're trashing Canelo for going up in weight, fighting an undefeated prime world champion? What are you talking about? So he's ducking by fighting a more dangerous, better fighter, and Charlo's fighting Sulecki? That's your king? Your king fights Sulecki? This is what I'm talking about. Ron Mitchell, sit your old ass down, because you don't know shit about boxing. These guys right here are dumbasses. Dumbasses. My God. My God. Sit your old ass down. I didn't know that they let you get on this late. You got a bedtime. Take your old ass to sleep. Talking all this trash. Talking all these trash. These dudes are smoking. Talking, and you praising a man for fighting Sulecki. Look at your dumb ass. Come on. Was rooting for my boy Canelo, but as a bowing fan, always knew Canelo could lose. IBFP keeps it real. That's all it is. We respect realness. We respect greatness. Nuke, respect your elders. I always do. But anybody can get the body back. And that's including my mama and your mama. Ain't nobody immune to the body bag. And if grandpa don't want his ass body bag, keep his old ass off the IBFP. Because this is not for you. Look at Lopez still whining. How many months exactly? Great fighters don't make excuses. This is what I'm saying. You think the vegan diet affected Canelo? I don't know. We will see in the rematch if he's still on the vegan diet. We shall see. We shall see. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Dude online from his retirement home defending Charlo, fighting Sulecki. Man, sit your old dumb ass down. Somebody come get your grandpa. I thought there was an age limit for the LDBC. You got this old ass man on here talking trash, defending Sulecki. Come on. Men lie, women lie, but the facts don't lie.